Recently, I won a 2017 Corvette at a Copart auction. I paid over $20,000 for it, sight unseen. It's a flood-damaged vehicle that had water over top of the hood, and at first glance, it seemed to be in really good shape. But that was until I found out there was about 2 gallons of water sitting in the crankcase, and it's been sitting in there for over 2 years. Using a bore scope, we also found that one of the cylinders has quite a bit of rust. After people saw the video, about 1,000 comments came in, extremely conflicting. Some people saying the engine is absolutely trashed, and other people saying there won't be any damage at all. But opinions are like arseholes, and everybody's got one. They all stink. Just kidding, I appreciated all of the comments, but I thought it would be really interesting to have a master technician with almost 20 years experience come inspect the damage on the car. First things first though, we need to get some lubrication in this engine because it's had water in it for a very long time. We have got 5W30 out the wazoo, man. I've got 20 quarts of this stuff. I've got Marvel Mystery Oil, new oil filters, we've got a new pan, and I've even got this little oil can right here to pump that mystery oil into the cylinders. I decided to get the cheapest oil that they have because we're gonna be doing a lot of flushes here. The response from the last video was absolutely crazy. There were hundreds of people that reached out to me, not just in the comment section, but also in my direct messages. Huge thank you to everybody. I cannot believe the overwhelming support and just positivity that the car community has really just, you know, it's awesome. You know, I'm just getting into the automotive world with this Corvette. We've been doing ATVs and dirt bikes forever, so it's just awesome to see that positivity. The consensus was 50-50. There's some people, it seems that half of the crowd is saying, absolutely, Corvette needs to be rebuilt, that engine is trashed, and then the other 50% are saying, dude, you just gotta flush the engine, get oil in those cylinders, get the rings freed up and stuff. The rust, you can clean that off and the engine's gonna be absolutely fine. So God only knows which way it's gonna end up going. I'm kind of in the school of thought that it's gonna be okay. You know, I've done a lot of stuff with small engines. If you guys are new to the channel, I've got a dirt bike here, quad, working on a 3-wheeler back there. I've been doing this stuff for a while, like 20 years, doing small engine repair and stuff. And, you know, I've seen some really bad cylinders and engines in really bad shape. It's crazy. You can usually make them run. So it's not as bad as I think it appears. Now, that being said, I think the most recommended thing to put in the cylinders is this Marvel Mystery Oil. So I'd like to fill all of the empty cylinders with that and just kind of let that soak in there. That should be really good for loosening up the rust and stuff and just getting things nice and lubricated. The problem is that we have been fighting the elements because of our current situation. We can't pull the Corvette inside, and it has just been raining non-stop. So I've been waiting for just one little bit of a break so that we can fill up those cylinders. And then right here, I've got 3.5 gallons of diesel fuel, and we'll be putting that in the engine. Diesel fuel is a great thing for cleaning stuff. I put that in my parts cleaner. It strips grease and just cleans things up. Plus it has a little bit of lubricity to it. So it'll clean out the engine. It's safe to put in there, and it's a little bit thinner than oil and stuff like that. So hopefully we can top that off to the max. Let the bottom end sit in that. That should break down some of the dirt and all the, you know, bullshit that's in there. And then we'll flush it out. Maybe we'll do that 2 or 3 times, and we'll get to working on freeing up this engine, and hopefully it'll be okay. Man, the ground is soaking wet, but I think we may have gotten our wish here, just for a moment, temporarily. Put our oil filter in place here. Believe it or not, the oil filter was really clean. It didn't seem like water got to that level. So I'm just gonna snug this by hand. For now, that will be replaced. I'm actually putting the old one back on because it's gonna get so gunked up with all the sediment and stuff. There's no use putting one of those new ones on for this first flush. So I just drained it. And there was really no water in it anyways. Tighten up our drain plugs. Man, the thunder is rumbling. So if we can just get a few moments here, I'd like to top this bastard off with some fresh diesel. I'm just using some old oil containers here, mostly to measure how much we're putting in. Believe it or not, this car calls for 10 quarts of oil. So there's no wonder that so much fluid came out last time. Even the oil itself, there would have been a freaking ton. So I'm gonna put 10 quarts in, and then I might put a little bit in later, really top this thing off so that it gets completely soaked in the diesel and it can clean everything up. But for right now, I'm just trying to get something in there because it definitely sounds like it wants to rain. I already feel better having that diesel fuel in there. Now, if I can just fill these cylinders up with oil, I will feel so much better. It can rain all at once while this oil does its thing. Man, getting to all these cylinders has not been an easy task. I use this carburetor line and it's making it possible. I'm just trying to rush, dude, because it's definitely feeling like it's about to start pouring. Basically just filling these up until I see it start to leak out of the spark plug hole. And yes, I've got an oil pan under the car. There we go. Would you look at that, man? It looks like the sun's coming out. Of course, it's after we just got done rushing around trying to beat the rain. It probably won't rain for like 12 days now, but I can't complain, man. As if this car needs any more water in its life. It'll be nice to get this thing some sun. This thing had so much water in it, man. It could even give Tavares's P1 a run for its money. Speaking of Tavares's P1, you guys are not gonna believe this. You gotta check this out. Okay, guys, so we are here at Exotic Car Gear. This is a local place to me. If you watched the most recent Tavares video where he shows the carbon fiber body for his P1, in the video he said Exotic Car Gear. And I was like, no way. So check it out. This is the place here. This is the man behind what's going on here. This is Dave.
How you doing, Mike?
What's up, man? So Dave reached out to me like, I guess a year ago.
Yeah, over a year.
Yeah, he was watching the Voodoo Banshee and he's like, dude, I think you had said carbon fiber fenders for the Banshee.
Yeah.
And then he was doing a blaster build and I helped him a little bit with the blaster build and I'm like, Exotic Car Gear. Watching Tavares' video, I was like, no way. So I reached out to him, I was like, dude, I can't believe you're in a Tavares video. And he's like, dude, you gotta come over and check out this P1 body. So like, we have to check this thing out, man. You guys aren't gonna believe this. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I was here last week, so it's not gonna be like a total genuine reaction on my part. I just wanted to come in. This is Dave. Dave, you're the owner, right?
Yes.
Dave, thank you so much for letting me come in.
Sir.
Yeah, you're the star of the show too, man. You were in Tavares' video.
Oh no.
That's why I saw you in there.
I have to bring out my Actors Guild card, I guess.
Yeah. So this is all this stuff carbon fiber?
Yep. It's all the majority Lamborghini, Ferrari, Porsche, and McLaren.
What's up, Mike? This is, I met Mike the other day. He told me that my Corvette's a total piece of crap. Have you seen the video?
Of the slow car?
The Corvette. Did you see?
Mike, it's a sin.
Did you see what came out?
About 2 gallons of water,
Yeah, it's
give or take.
So Mike actually worked at Copart.
Yeah.
And he just told me like the brutalities that Corvette probably had. So he said on the window, he said right the auction sticker had an X in it, which means what?
It got pipped, so it just gets wrapped up, so no extra water gets inside. But
Oh, I thought you said they pressure washed the whole inside.
Oh, well,
That's
it
before they
depends.
pressure wash it.
Yeah, that's before they pressure wash it. But yeah,
Yeah, so
that's how they clean it.
any hope of not getting water in the interior, that's you can just forget about all that. It's been drenched.
I mean, it's already got water in it
Yeah.
from the flood, so.
Oh man. Tavares is down in what, Florida?
Yeah, he's about an hour, I think, south of Orlando.
That's pretty much where I picked up the Corvette.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yep.
But I was just thinking,
He could have even picked it up from the same lot that he picked up the P1.
can you imagine?
Probably pretty close.
That
I know
is
there's like
crazy.
3 lots down there, all pretty close together.
My big
So.
thing is, I want to know if Tavares watched my video. Probably not. This is so cool though, dude. So you said you built this in 1 month? You
Pretty
had
much.
It built in 1 month?
It was an expedited thing just because of the type of clientele, and you know, it's just something that we wanted to have expedited. And normally it would take a little bit longer but when, you know, there's a deadline for Tavares, you know, he's trying to make it to some goals and some deadlines, you know, one of those things that needed to be done perfect and quick at the same time, so.
Yeah, super, super cool. And I gotta ask, dude, like as a regular consumer, if I wanted to build one of these, have one of these built here, what are we looking at?
So
cost-wise?
cost on that side of things, we'd probably be looking in the $100,000 to $150,000 side on molds. And then production for the actual car, we're looking at probably another $160,000.
So you would have to pay to have the molds made? And
Yes,
production.
there's certain, so with our customers, we do it a couple different ways. We can do molds one-off where, you know, you own the mold, it's your mold, you pay for the mold, I can't make parts out of it. Something like this, we made the mold for ourselves, so we induced the cost on that because this is something we're gonna be able to sell in a retail aspect. A lot of the custom parts we do for people are something that doesn't really align up with my catalog. Don't mind making it. We can pretty much do anything you really put your head to. I've made dashboards for a Cessna airplane all the way to carbon fiber boat steering wheel. Kind of really do anything with carbon. It's kind of really up to your imagination. I had a P1 at my production facility ready to take CAD files and scans of everything, and it just was a perfect blending.
That is awesome. Did he find you or did you guys find him?
We found him. My boss made a comment on one of his Instagram posts. I think he said we have the molds for a P1, and the comments started blowing up with likes because, you know, Tavares is following. Somebody saw it and they all started liking it. So Tavares DM'd Dave that night and was like, so is your comment true? And Dave said yes and sent him pictures of the molds and everything like that. And Tavares was like, perfect, let's go, let's get it going.
Dude, hell yeah.
So
I just still can't believe, like, of all people,
right around the block.
Literally this is a 10-minute drive for me. And like the fact that you're in the quads.
Yes, sir.
It's like the stars aligned, man. Freaking awesome. So dude, thank you so much, dude.
No problem.
I really appreciate you letting
Good
me in
seeing
here,
you.
and thank you to Tavares for allowing me to do this. And man, just what an opportunity to see this. I can't wait to see it when it's done, man.
Yeah,
That's
it'll
gonna
be
something
awesome.
else. Yeah. If you guys are interested in seeing more on this incredibly rare McLaren P1 project, you can see several videos on the Tavares YouTube channel. It's another flood salvage vehicle, and it's probably the highest caliber and most expensive build that has ever been on YouTube. I'm following it myself, and it's truly an incredible project. All right, let's get back to the shop. Bet you didn't see that coming. That's what she said. But in all seriousness, what an awesome experience, really cool group of guys, and you didn't think I would go to a place like Exotic Car Gear and not bring home some cool shit, right? Hell no. Check this stuff out, man. We've got some premium carbon fiber stuff. They make stuff for the C7 Corvette. I was like, man, how could we have this car project and see this cool carbon fiber stuff and not get some stuff for the Corvette? Now, unfortunately, this stuff will be going back, but I did want to showcase some of the stuff that they offer for the Corvette. This is just so cool. They had more stuff than this. I just took a couple pieces. This is the taillight bezel. They've got the little screens in there and everything, and it weighs. I gotta be careful with this stuff, man. This stuff is expensive, but man, it feels almost like nothing. It's like you're holding air. And I was telling Dave when I was there, I'm still like in that newbie school of thought where because it's so light, it feels fragile, but this stuff is super, super strong. Just really cool, really beautiful pieces. There's a trim cover for the steering wheel to give you make the steering wheel a little bit unique pop. Very, very cool. And then these I think are my favorite. These go on the side of the car where the emblem is, right behind the front tire. Really, really cool. It's really is the kind of stuff like I enjoy showing this stuff to you guys, but it's so hard to appreciate it as much as you can when you see it in person, man. This stuff is beautiful. It's like a work of art. So these guys do all kinds of high-end carbon fiber work. Pretty much anything that you have, they can usually make a mold and then make that piece for you. So if it's something that you're interested in, you can find them at exoticcargear.com. They're also on Instagram at exoticcargear. Really nice guys over there. It's really was a privilege to be able to go over there and check all this stuff out. All right, let's get back to working on this Corvette. Now, we're definitely a little bit of a unique situation with the amount of water that came out of the engine here. So what I decided to do is bring in my buddy here. Right behind me, I've got Mechanical Hulk. Many of you guys that are longtime followers of the channel know who Matt is. Matt is the Mechanical Hulk. He's been a friend of mine for, 10 years. And he's been a tech for what, like 20 years?
About 20, yeah.
20 years, he's a master tech. He's like the go-to guy at Village Automotive where, if somebody doesn't know what they're doing, like another tech, they go to Matt. He knows all the ins and outs and stuff. But what I want to do is have Matt assess the damage here. I have asked him not to watch the video from last week. So he hasn't seen what's come out of there. I think before we even get into any assessment, what do you say we check out the footage?
Let's do it. I'm excited.
We'll do the drain first, and then I'll show you the cylinders.
Okay.
So we'll just let it run here.
No.
tell me there's not much. Oh, jeez.
Wow.
Oh, that is really bad.
Dude, you could drink that.
It's crystal clear, right?
That is really bad.
And this whole time I was
That
like,
bowl is about to be full.
If you get it on the driveway, at least it's just water.
yeah, right.
That is not good at all.
Oop, there it is. Ugh.
There's the oil. That was a lot of water.
Quick, plug it.
Man, we're about to be overflowing here. Damn it.
I mean, dude, that thing holds 4 quarts.
Me, man.
Yeah.
And like I said, there was a whole other tub that came out of the other drain plug. So probably at this point, 8 quarts have come out.
Right.
So that's pretty much.
That's.
So this goes on for like 3 minutes. I'm not going to make you watch the whole thing. I'll speed it up here.
Sure.
So this is fast motion. I'm going and looking for another pan. And I thought by now it would have stopped. So when I came back, I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Yeah. So that's the oil situation.
Wow.
And now for cylinders.
That sets records in my book.
That's not what I wanted to hear. 20 years in the industry, I know you've seen a lot.
I've seen water in the crankcase, but I've seen antifreeze, but not drinkable, potable water.
Really though, you could like bottle that, I feel like.
Yeah.
So, all right, this is a good cylinder.
Okay.
This is what pretty much, I'll show you one of these because, this one, the piston's at the top.
That doesn't look bad. I'd be looking for like a rusty slide mark going down the cylinder. So that's good. That's good. I mean, the crosshatch. I mean, how many miles are on this car?
I think about 14,000.
Oh, yeah, that's still not even broken in, really. I mean, the crosshatch looks great. That one's perfect.
All right, so I'll spare you all the other cylinders. That basically they look like that.
Okay.
And we'll just jump right to, this is it. Just brace yourself. So you can see the valve there.
Oh, you said this was freshwater, right?
I believe so. Yeah. It was Hurricane Ida in Philadelphia. So.
Right.
I'm hoping that it's mostly surface rust. I mean, like if you see here, you can see the cross hatching and stuff.
Yeah. The pitting, like this right here, that is something I'd be a little concerned about. That does look pretty rough. I have a feeling that if that's turning it over by hand is necessary, but seeing the lip of the valve, like the seat of the valve,
right?
You're probably going to have a misfire in that cylinder.
Do you think like honing that cylinder and doing a valve job, just cleaning all the valve seats and valves?
I think that would definitely.
New rings maybe on that piston?
Yes. That would definitely be, the best way to technically start.
We're talking about bare minimum just to get it going.
Okay, so everybody I feel is, sitting behind a keyboard. They're a freaking Danny do-it-yourself or keyboard captain, shady tree mechanic, and everyone, the comments are going to blow up on this, and you're going to get some backlash, but you got to, at this point, what do you have to lose? Okay, so you have to, re-hone a cylinder. If you can get it to break free and physically turn it over by hand,
right.
I feel like that rust, it looks ferocious, but it's probably tack rust. Now, that one little speck that I pointed out on the one side of the cylinder, that could probably, work itself out like this. We don't know how deep that pit is. Most of this looks like it's just surface. And the fact that you have the Marvel oil in there, that's great. That's an old trick. I would, despite how ferocious and gross that looks, I would be more concerned of the valve seats working themselves back in, because basically you're just taking that rust on the top of the valve seat, or on top of the valve, and slamming it into the seat.
Smashing it right into it.
Right.
Yeah.
So Would that clean up? Possibly. Have you turned this over by hand yet?
I haven't even touched that.
Nice.
So we could. It's been sitting for 3 days.
Ooh, this is fun. Okay.
If you want, we can try to wiggle it back and forth from
well,
harmonic balancer.
I feel like that, after seeing it now, that is going to be the biggest concern that we have to focus on. But because it's sat for so long with the Marvel stuff in there, I think that gives us a good shot at getting it to turn over. I would not be, shy to turn it over by hand. What I would do is actually turn it over by hand a ton of times with the plugs out, obviously, so you're not fighting the compression, and throw a bore scope back in after to see
scrape some of that off.
Right, exactly. Now, if it doesn't turn over at all, then it could be rusted shut, and then it's take apart time.
I don't think that's gonna happen though.
There's only one way to find out.
There's only one way to find out.
It's probably going to be a 7-cylinder for a little bit until a misfire clears up.
Oh man, it's gonna be Smoke City.
This
is gonna be the real two-stroke Corvette.
All right.
I think it'll run.
Yeah. I think. Well, no. I would almost bet it's electronics aside, mechanically it'll run. Electronics aside.
As long as it breaks free, which I'm sure it will. If it breaks free, it has to run. It might be like,
right, well,
loose piston a little bit until the rings come out.
Oh man, that is something. Wow, the water in the oil was kind of like whatever, but that cylinder is like super sketch. Dude, that thing is really neat. How the end, like you can articulate the end. That is a really cool view. So you're going to be giving colonoscopies in like 10 years, right?
Of course. All right, so we forget. I can't remember which cylinder it is. Matt wanted to know which bank it was. So we're going to see if we can figure this out. The first cylinder we went in was the wrong one, but I still wanted to take a look around with Matt to see what the effects of the Marvel Mystery Oil were, and you can see it cleaned it up pretty nicely.
You put Marvel in all the cylinders?
Yep.
Okay. Regardless, that cylinder looks nice.
Yeah. It's like stuck, I think, on the threads. There it goes.
Oh, okay.
Now you may be able to turn all the way around. This one looks really good. Oh, that's looking at itself.
Ooh. Oh, that's dangerous.
Let's put it the other way.
I'm up against the cylinder wall.
Try now. Yeah, you can see the valves and everything, dude. Wow.
That is... All right, this tool is a must-have.
Yeah, this is cool, man. That's the intake valve. We did some poking around in all the cylinders, and they all look really good after the oil's been sitting in it. Now let's take a look at that one cylinder that had all the rust damage. Well, dude, already that looks better.
That did clean it up quite a bit.
See if you can spin the other way. If I can get it.
You're right at the edge of the fluid.
It's really hard to tell.
You're bumping up against the valve.
Yeah, that's right at the edge of the fluid.
Yeah.
We should, if we can get the engine to move, we could push some of this fluid out. I feel like it was pretty close to bottom dead center with the amount of cylinder
the bottom of its stroke
was revealed.
Right.
But it looks like it cleaned up. Like, what the
Well, you think about it too. I mean, it's been what, like 90 some degrees today, so it has like temperature on its side to like vaporize the. Because when that's evaporating, it's probably going to be coming out the hole a little bit and coating the.
Yeah, we got a little
Woo 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 woo. Woo 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 woo.
Should we?
That's scary, dude. That's creepy.
Dude, I said that in the last video. I was like, this is some ET shit.
It's like.
All right, enough of this shit. All right. Should we try to turn this thing over?
Yes, yes.
I can't believe it's still clear. There's oil all over it. It's pretty good.
Doctor?
Got some tight tolerances here.
You're gonna probably have to
You're
push.
right, that is.
It's a little sketch.
Just barely gets on there. Dude, it's not even budging.
You also have to remember the camshaft may have moisture on it and tack rust on the cam.
Damn.
I feel like if we got a... This is kind of hokey and you can't get a proper socket on it. I bet you if we gave it some back and forth tugs with a socket that could fit on the crank, we could probably get it to move a little bit. I feel like I got it to move a tiny bit.
Really?
But I don't know if it was this slipping.
Yeah,
and it was either that or I blow my knuckles apart.
I'm trying to think if I have like a lower profile socket or...
Ooh, this. That would get on there square.
Is that a 15/16?
Yep.
Oh, it is! Dude.
You almost jumped out of the toolbox. we got it.
This is perfect. This is like made for it.
Yeah, it's just the right offset. And we could get a pip on it.
A pipe is what he's saying. I said a pipe is what he's saying.
Yes.
For all the normies.
For all the normies.
Dude. Yes. Make sure it's all the way on there. Literally made for it. Ooh. I'm gonna try pulling that way. I don't know, man. It's.
I don't know if it's just my excitement that saw like a little movement, but
I thought that the bolt was coming off. She's seized.
you don't have something we could fit on this to give it a little bit more leverage.
Yeah. I'm gonna kind of go by your experience here because I don't know how hard.
Go clockwise.
Like you just doing that is probably so much more than what we were just doing. I think it's moving, dude. I'm watching this little dot right here.
And a side note too, you did say you have 15 quarts of diesel in the crankcase. That would not lock us up completely.
It's too close.
You would be able to turn it a tiny bit, and you would feel the resistance if the motor spun freely.
Yeah. There we go. Okay.
I kind of wasn't expecting that.
Me too. I really thought that it was gonna be like butter. I mean, I could let it soak for a few more days, short of taking it apart, is to try to let the oil do its work a little bit.
Right.
And we're fighting 2 years of even just a little bit of buildup and tight tolerances.
Oh yeah,
dude. It's like
right. Well, you also have the lifters in the heads too. That could be stuck or corroded as well. Maybe what wouldn't be a bad idea is pull the valve covers and at least pour some of that.
Just pour oil out.
Pour crap down over the push rods, get it down in the valve train, because I wouldn't be surprised if the bottom end would move freely if the valve train is stuck just enough to hold it all up.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a good idea too, though, and just make sure all the valves are moving.
Right.
Because one of those things are stuck down. We're going to be. It's not that hard to take all this stuff off, anyways.
Right.
So.
And another thing too, you do have those valves that were open during the event of it flooding. So, the valve guides could be stuck in those cylinders from all the moisture just sitting in there over the last 2 years.
Yeah, if it got past the seals. I think that's the smart move.
Yeah.
And then we'll try to break it free after we get the valve covers off. I know you want to do this right now.
Round 2. Fight.
Let's get some food, dude.
All right.
Well, not exactly the outcome I was looking for with the engine not turning over, but it's not the end of the world. We can't lose sight of the fact that I bought this car to be a project, not to be a deal. So I'm actually kind of excited to tear into the car further. Matt had to roll out, but I wanted to take the intake manifold off and the valve covers to see what was going on inside.
Lots of small connectors and stuff. I've kind of been taking my time here. I don't want to break anything. I think the next step, this intake, I'm assuming slides out the front because this cover thing, I don't think you can get it off without pulling this out. So I'm thinking that maybe this slides forward. Okay, looks like there's a connector on the back we gotta get. There we go. It's kind of heavy, dude. I wonder if there's water in here. Well, we're making progress. Definitely, if one of these fuel injectors leaked, water could have gotten there. You can see that water definitely was up here. You can see all of our intakes here. They actually look pretty good at first glance. You can see water definitely was sitting up here. We've got our fuel rails, lots of spots up here where water could have got in. Any one of our injectors, water, there's a connector right here. All this stuff back here, like anything up here, possibly if a seal failed, it could have leaked. Probably I'll end up taking all that stuff off. I think we can take this cover off here and look at the cam. I think right now though, what I want to do is get the rocker or the the valve covers off. That shouldn't be too hard. It looks like a bunch of 10mm bolts. Everything else is disconnected. We'll see if we can pop those off and see what they look like. Some of these bolts back here are a little tough, but this isn't that bad. So far, anyways. Came off easy. No oil leaking out. Oh man. Looks really good. I don't see any traces of water. I'll give you guys a look in there. You can see that looks really, really good. There's a thin layer of oil on everything. That's perfect. Could not be in better shape than that. We need the good news after that seized engine information. So let's go ahead and get the other side off, see if that one's as good. I don't want to get my hopes up too soon because this is the side with the bad cylinder. And there's also a port on the top of this side that's not on the other side. Damn it. And water could have gotten through that port. And it's right above the cylinder that had water in it. All right, I'm a little nervous for this. This is the hole I was talking about right here. There was a plug in there, but it could have leaked through there. Well, looks good and clean to me, man. I can't see all the way in there, but the push rods look like they've got oil all over them. I don't see any rust or any signs of water being up here. But the sun is going down, so I want to plug up all these holes and everything so that more moisture doesn't go in the engine. And I think I'm going to put those valve covers back on just in the interest of keeping everything covered up. But before I put them back on, I'm going to take some Marvel Mystery Oil and dump it on the valves just to get everything as lubed up as possible. And then also that can sit in the valve guides and everything and hopefully break this thing loose and, you know, let the oil do its work. We're getting to the point now, though, where it's like we might as well just take the heads off, and then I could actually manually clean that one real bad cylinder, all the cylinders really, just make sure that they're all good and clean, and you know, do a valve job on this thing, and plus then we can put headers on it. You gotta think about the important things, you know. I'm also pouring a little bit of oil in our intakes as well. This isn't gonna hurt anything. It's just gonna make it smoke really bad if we do get it started this way. All right, we're all buttoned up. Valve covers are back on. I've got to stuff all these holes and everything because we're working outside and we've been getting a lot of rain lately in the Philly area. So even with the hood closed, I don't have like a trash bag over it or anything. So I do want to keep all those plugs whole because we don't want to get any more water in the engine. So I'm gonna go ahead and research how to take off those fuel rails, and then we will tackle that tomorrow. I did a ton of research this morning. I ended up going down a rabbit hole of just looking at all different ways to take the fuel rails off, and then going beyond that, accessing the cam and stuff. Apparently, underneath this plate right here is the DOD system. I'm not 100% sure on that either. And then shortly after that, it divulged into performance heads, aftermarket camshafts, headers, exhaust systems, and pretty much everything that we don't need for this car right now. But typical, right? What I did learn though is that we do need special tools. You don't need special tools, but you really should have special tools to take these fuel rails off. I also learned that these little kind of S pipes here that join the fuel rails are supposed to be one-time use. So I have conflicting opinions on forums of guys that reuse these, but they're high-pressure fuel lines, and it's recommended by GM that you replace these every time that you take them off. Whenever it's a tool kind of scenario, I always feel like that's an investment, so I went ahead and ordered the tools. So we have to wait for that stuff to come before we start tearing that stuff down. And I'm at a crossroads here. You know, we're really getting close to, you know, does it make sense to just remove the heads? I'm starting to think that. If we do that, I'm thinking about maybe sending them out to get them ported, getting an aftermarket cam and stuff. I know I'm jumping the gun here, but you know, we're guys here. You know, it's like the typical thing that we think about. And if you guys have any suggestions there, I'm all ears. So I'm thinking Texas Speed, I know, is a company that I've used with some of the cars that I've had previously, and you know, you guys just let me know in the comment section below. So while we're waiting for those tools, I took some PB Blaster and just kind of injected it down into where the injectors are, because from what I read, they can get corroded and it can be a real pain in the ass pulling those fuel rails out. So for now, any engine progress is on hold while we wait for those tools. But at some point in time, we're gonna have to address the nightmare of electrical situation that could possibly be on our hands. And I'm hoping that because we're having problems with the engine, maybe we'll get lucky and the electrical system won't be bad. Yeah, unlikely. But I figure we'll start before we end this video, and we will, go ahead and jump into the interior and electrical system with the seats. Now, you guys may have seen in the second episode, it appears that these seats have already been removed. In fact, I see a loose bolt or nut sitting right back here. Most of the hardware and stuff for the interior is already loose. And in like little compartments in the side, which is where I'm gonna put this, is where I've been finding a lot of that hardware. So I think already these bolts or nuts are gonna be finger loose. But one thing we do have to get off is the seat belt. And just from looking at the trim, it looks like somebody has already had this off. You can see this trim piece isn't tucked in properly, and you can actually see pry marks right there. So probably the seat was removed and they plugged this back in. Oh yeah, this is loose too, it looks like. Yep. Yeah, this is no doubt that all this stuff has been removed. You can see the old red Loctite on there and stuff. Kind of nice because it's making this job a lot easier, but also kind of scary because now that we've seen that the engine doesn't appear to have been tampered with, that makes me think that whatever they found inside is what made them decide to put everything back together and say, let's get rid of this shit and make Mike Sabo deal with it. Whatever. Would it make sense to take the roof off first, because this does have a removable roof, or is this not that bad? I don't know. I think this might be a roof job. This is one of the cool things about Corvettes. What the jeez, there we go. Say you're not a Corvette guy without saying you're not a Corvette guy. That's one of the cool things about Corvettes though, is that they usually have these target tops. It's a removable roof. Probably better to be done with two people, but they're pretty light usually. All right, now that should make getting this seat out quite a bit easier. All right. Whew. Man, this is just so easy. Basically, we've, never mind. All right, man, we got a convertible now. All of a sudden, I don't care that I paid 23 grand for this flood salvage piece of junk. Check out the floors. Got a little bit of rust or dirt. That could be dirt. There's been dirt all over. If you look in here, you can see dirt. There's all dirt underneath these carpets. That's all from the flood water, just sloshing dirt all over this thing. But, oh yeah, look under here too. There's dirt everywhere, man. All this stuff is gonna have to come out. Over here is the passenger side. Got glass on the floor. I'm pretty certain that this is from a different vehicle. You know, it was at a salvage yard and stuff. The glass, I don't think was ever replaced, but you know, maybe it was replaced at some point in time and, you know, before even the flood, and glass gets all over the place. So maybe, who knows, but I'm not too concerned about that. The connectors look okay. I mean, you can see a little bit of water. It got in there, a little bit of corrosion, but not like beyond repair. To the point where they're like super trashed. I don't know what this is. Probably something critical. But yeah, for the most part, it's looking pretty minty. This one is the driver's seat. Believe it or not, these things are like $2,500 for a good set of these. The seats look good appearance-wise. Like as far as the leather and stuff go, you know, I'm sure put a little bit of leather treatment on that and that'll probably look like brand new. Now really where the question is going to come in is, are these damn things gonna work? Because, you know, they are, you know, $2,500, $3,000 seats. These are heated and cooled. It's a 2LT, which is like the, not the highest trim level, but the second from the bottom. I don't know. But anyways, there's a lot of stuff going on in these seats. So I'm really hoping that they're not totally trashed. This is the driver's seat. Let's see if we can get some of this. Here's the connector. It doesn't look bad. You can see rust and stuff under there, like on the motor and all. Probably flip it on its side and take a closer look. Man, finally, we can do some work inside. Oh, these things are heavier than shit. It's been so humid outside, but we don't have enough garage space really to pull that Corvette in. Ooh, we may have bitten off a little bit more than we can chew here. What the heck is that? And this is one of the most complex seats that I've ever looked under. There's a a whole module right here that's bigger than a CDI box on any of the quads that I've worked on. Got another little module right there, or a connection junction, our motors, obviously, a little bit of surface rust. Back here, there's like clear tubes with liquid in them. I don't know if that's for the cooled seats maybe. I'm not really sure how that stuff works, but probably I'll have to pull all these connectors apart, check all of those. And then I'm gonna see if I can find a way to test out the motors and that computer module. I think I'm gonna have to do a little bit of research here before I start poking and prodding and applying 12 volts to anything. Well, I think doing a completely comprehensive test of these seats might be a little bit bigger of a job than I anticipated with all the modules and everything in here. So I think we're gonna go for one small victory before we end this video. And at least my pop noticed that the motors just have 2 wires going to them. These 2 anyways, there's more motors, but we should be able to put power to these and see if at least those work. This one I think raises and lowers it, it looks like.
Well, we'll see in a minute. Nope.
It's sparking. There is an override up here to like break it free. Let's see. It does move, but it took a little bit to get it to move, so.
Okay, maybe we'll put some electric to it, it'll work now.
Yeah, these were really, it was stuck pretty good, but then now it moves. It was stuck.
Yeah.
Oh, there it goes.
There she goes.
All right.
Okay, now we gotta turn it the other way.
Yeah, it's working. It's good. It's working real good.
Okay. That's good.
All right, that one's good. That's all it needed is just a
Okay.
whatever was in there.
Let's
Here, I'm gonna take this off so you don't jump it. Yep, there it goes.
Go ahead.
All right.
Good. Run it the other way too.
Yeah.
Leave it out so we can get to this one, Lake.
There's hope.
Leave it out.
All right, man. We finally got one victory. Well, it may be a small one. This is huge. Those 2 motors working in this seat are a good indicator that the rest of the components are in good shape. The big thing is going to be that computer module, but I have hopes that everything works. My pop and I will be tearing these seats down, cleaning all the connectors, and I might even send out the rusted pieces to get refinished. One small step on the very long road to getting this Corvette to 100%. I really enjoyed having you guys hang out while we worked on the Corvette today. Make sure to give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed this content, and consider subscribing to follow the rest of the journey of this Corvette. I guarantee you I will get this thing running, and we will take it to the dyno and see how much power it makes. Whether that's with the existing components or with an entirely new engine is yet to be determined, but mark my words, we will be driving this car. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.
Hey there, little fella. Where did you come from?